switch off your devices or keep them on silent mode. Welcome to the press conference. We are having the director, cast, and crew of the opening film Ultimo Azul, The Blue Trial. So I welcome Gabriel Mascaro, the director. This is the second time you are at Iffi. In 2019, you were here with the Divine Love. I welcome the sound designers Arturo Salazar and Maria Rojas. Yeah, that will be my first question to you. Why two sound directors here? I also welcome the actors Rosa Malagueta and Clarissa Pinero. So, Gabriel, this is your second Iffi, and the film was launched in February 2025. You went to Berlin, you went to Canada, now at Iffi. How was the journey so far?
Yeah, it's been very so special to be able to talk about a subject, an issue that can be quite common to different backgrounds, different cultures. So it's been really special to understand that since a very let's say Brazilian point of view, we can also be connected to the different cultures. No, you can really be touched by a Brazilian movie as we also can be very touched to an Indian movie if they are universal, if they are emotional. So we are here for sharing stories. So I'm so happy that our movie can touch you.
Thank you.
Different, independent of country, independent of culture, independent of the religion, independent of the background.
Thank you, Gabriel. Can we have a quick look at the trailer?
O que está acontecendo aqui?
Senhora Teresa, dona da casa?
Aham.
É uma homenagem do governo.
Homenagem?
É, por conta da sua idade.
Mas desde quando uma pessoa é homenageada só porque ficou velha?
Abordagem de documentos.
Ainda falta 3
A
anos.
senhora precisa comparecer na prefeitura com urgência.
Eu vou ter que andar no catavélio.
Mas você não já sabia que tu ia pra colônia?
Eu não sabia que era agora. Tem coisa que eu ainda quero fazer.
Cadê aquela senhorinha que veio no banheiro se lavar?
E a senhora? Tá indo fazer o que lá em Taquatioca?
Garantir meu lugar no céu.
¿Para qué quiere el dinero?
Eu vou comprar a liberdade antes de ser preso. Será que dá medo de voar lá em cima?
Quanto mais medo, melhor.
Você não tem medo da polícia, não?
Ninguém pode fazer nada comigo.
Deixe ninguém travar seu caminho, não.
Dizem que ele tem poder de encanto. Tu vai ver o que tu nunca viu.
Yeah. Now, Arturo and Maria, why two sound designers?
Do you want to start? I think, I mean, in different ways we complement each other. We've been working together for maybe 6 years now. And I think we complement how we work, how we think. And I think Gabriel got benefited out of this a lot because we also think that two is better than one because we share ideas and we can discuss ideas before putting them in sound. No, we can think about, we can discuss, we can share our thoughts before doing, and that always makes our work bigger and better.
You just said it right as it is. Yes.
Thank you. Now the house is open for questions. Kindly introduce yourself and ask the question. Ji.
Hello. Congratulations to the whole team. Yesterday I saw the film. It is really disturbing. And it is a universal film. And technically it is made very well. And my question is, why you made a kind of an adventurous journey that lady would take, In spite of her, this one, she does an adventurous journey. It shows that she has got the spirit even though the government may consider her as aged and all, and it is really disturbing. And why adventurous journey?
Actually, I was initially inspired by my grandmother, and she's now 97, and but when she was 80 years old, she started painting when my grandpa just passed away. And I was very inspired about someone that in the late 80s can restart creating new meaning for her life. And we didn't have any background of artists in our family, so it was very touching for me to see her developing something new, because we associate the elderly people that they are not developing something new. It's general. When we talk about them, we connect them to the past. No, it's about nostalgia. It's about elderly people nostalgic, say, "Oh, my glorious time that doesn't come back anymore. It used to be so great, my youth, my when I was young." No, it's always about these lemurials, nostalgic, and in the movies in general, when there is not a lot of movies in the world with elderly protagonists. So in general, they are about nostalgia, or they are about the ending of life, about terminal illness, something that they are like friends are also dying. So there's not. I didn't find movies about the present, and for me, it was very important to start thinking about elderly as a body able to rediscover the present, to start new things, to start discovering themselves, starting a new meaning for life, pleasure, having pleasure. No, the body is still alive, and that was the message of the movie. To look at this character that she is able, even a woman, no. As you know, we face a lot of machista society. So for this movie, it was very important as a Brazilian machista country to think about this woman able to rediscover herself, rediscover, create a new kind of complicities, rediscover her sexuality, find new connections. And yes, and I hope the movie can share this kind of inspiration that talk about freedom in the end. That's the movie. It's universal. It's a movie about freedom, and we connected with her from this perspective.
Thank you. So,
Yes, to Gabriel Mascaro, how you react when this film was selected to the International Festival of India, and is one of the topmost festival in the Indian government. And this festival has two, three elements of nature, environmental, and the old age factor also. And how tough was you to take acting with that elderly people into the screen? And does the really Brazilian government to take care of the elderly people into the fold? The take in the vehicle with a caged one. That's something little hurting. Elderly people should be respected, but they take as a stray animals, And that lady Teresa fears to enter there to that section actually. And is it your first film as a feature? And you have been experienced with the environmental films. And was it really good when you are taking the snail, the blue liquid in the eyes? Does it do really exist, or it's your own story? And the fight of white and red fish, how you shot the climax scene, It's just you're putting in that in front of the audience, but when you've taken the shooting part, it's really tough.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll try to answer all the questions, but resume. I will actually. It's a fiction. The majority of things in the movie, there is no wrinkle wagon taking elderly people like stray dogs. It's more like a absurd fiction, speculative fiction that I would try to propose in terms of like absurdity. How can we deal with this suspended reality? But also it really talks about us, because we know that some people know that it doesn't exist, but it could exist, and not only in Brazil. It something the society could change very fast in terms of how do we understand this non-productive body, because we are facing every time more and more a capitalist society where you are recognized by the way you produce. When you think about this non-productive body, the adult one, in this context of society, we thought about this Brazil productivity, and so yes, it's not real. And the blue snail also is not real, but actually you can find a lot of equivalents that are for real. You have a lot of psychotropics in the fauna and flora in Brazil, like ayahuasca, some roots, some leaves, some animals, some frogs, that the skin can really give you some some expand your conscience, I would say. But in general, there are very associated to some rituals, indigenous rituals in Brazil, and that's why I prefer not using a real one, because in respect of some religions of the people, I prefer to create by fiction my own allegory to represent and talk about these psychotropics. So the blue snail is like a equivalence of what there is already. And did I no half of the question? The fish fighting. The fish fighting is curious. There is a mix of CGI, visual effects, and a mix of real footage. So it's a mix. But there is this kind of species of fish in Brazil called betta fish, and they can be like they can fight for the territory, territorialist fish, but not that emotional like that, because the sound designer make everything more like. That's why it's it's because the sound is very impressive that makes us very connected.
So, yeah. Yes.
Why would you want to show Brazil as a dystopian place?
Yes, Brazil. I'm not sure if you are familiar what has passed in our country. We face. Artists used to say that we have a double pandemic. We have the pandemic and we have our government Bolsonaro. We could be like equivalent of another pandemic. In Brazil, he's quite conservative against artists. When he won the election, he took off all the Brazilian move posters from the Brazilian cinema agency. He shut down the Ministry of Culture. So in a country like Brazil, that's very well known by Brazilian culture, it was very sad for the Brazilian people. So yes, and the reality is being very dystopic, I would say, for Brazilian people, like observing the politics. We are facing lots of politician issues, and so it's a way to respond to this suspended real politic and find a way to talk and create a conversation of what's going on, from the absurdity, from this almost dystopic. And the funny thing is, not the movie is not even future. It could be the past. No, it's a suspended time. There is no new technology in the movie that suggests the movie in the future. It's more about a suspended reality that deals with something that we can recognize. We could think it could be real, but it's not real. But the feelings are real, and that feeling that it could be real can be even more powerful. No, actually, during Bolsonaro, I had already the funding secured to make the movie, but he just like freezed the fundings, so we couldn't make the movie like easily because the bureaucracy was a bit strict, but not that kind of strict censorship, official censorship. So after that, we was able to make the movie when Lula came back to the government.
Ma'am? You're audible.
Hello. My name is Elsa, and my question is to Gabriel Mascaro. So, this film is already premiered at London BFI Festival, then Toronto Festival as well. And now it has come to Iffi, which is a huge thing for Indian audience, definitely. So, what is different from the kind of reactions or how the audience there have perceived the movie, And what are the kind of reactions that you're getting from an Indian audience with respect to breaking age-related stereotypes and stuff? Is there anything particular that is different with respect to the reactions? And what kind of conversations would you like for the audience to take away after watching the movie?
Yes, it's interesting because we tend to imagine that a different culture can really react differently, but it's not that much because I think you are you are contemporary society. Like you have access for different kind of movies in different contexts. You are a cinephile culture as well, so I would say there's not that much difference because I understand you are very cinephile cultural Indian. And it's so special to share a movie like this, and maybe you have some kind of like specific backgrounds of kind of cinema that we don't have, but I know you are open to different kind of cinema, and that's the beauty of the festival because it's a very diverse, lots of diversity in this festival. And for example, even for Brazilian upper class doesn't travel to the Amazon region. So even for Brazilian people from São Paulo and Rio, this movie can be maybe more eccentric and more exotic than for you because you are in Goa, so you are more connected to nature, connected to different. So Brazil also is a huge country, and you can have maybe more difference in terms of reaction or reception, depends of the region in Brazil. That said, no, it's been so special to understand that the movie can connect us for more universal aspects because talks about freedom, talks about the right to dream, and the right to dream is for everyone.
Yeah, before the next question, Rosa and Clarissa, what was the brief from Gabriel to you? What was the brief given to you?
Eu sou Esmeraldina, né? Eu faço amiga da Teresa. E quando o Gabriel ligou para mim, ele disse: eu quero um personagem que nem tu, assim, despachada, bem calma.
When the director told her, he told her that the character is very calm, very tranquil.
O meu personagem é bem amazônica, né? Bem amazônica. Eu sou indígena, sou ticuna, sou do Amazonas, em plena floresta amazônica. Então, eu tenho descendência indígena e negra. Meus avós eram escravos. E aí agora eu me considero afro-indígena.
I come from the Amazon culture. Amazon culture is indigenous, very, very Brazilian. I'm a mixture of two cultures, indigenous and black culture. And I'm presenting my culture in the film.
E eu quis levar a minha regionalidade para Esmeraldina. Então, eu acho que ela é uma mulher interiorana, uma mulher de uma cidade pequena, de uma cidade onde todo mundo se conhece. Eu acho que o filme ele traz isso, ele traz eu acho que o filme ele te mostra que a gente pode ser o que quiser. Então, eu acho que é isso que o meu personagem quer também levar como amiga da Teresa, né? Que logo, logo ela vai estar lá com ela também nesse lugar para onde ela vai.
I'm showing my region. I'm showing my region of Amazon. It's a small city, and I'm just being me. I'm being me, the friend of the main protagonist character. So yeah, that's basically what.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I knew Gabriel before. We are from the same city, and then when he sent me the script and said that have a character to me, and I read it, I love it, and I was like, oh my God, this daughter. And at the same time, the script caught me, and I thought, oh my God, this is a great trip to get in. And I was very happy to have the opportunity to work with him a friend and someone that I admired all his movies, and I was very pleasant and happy, pleasant for the invitation.
Yeah.
So, my question's open to any of you. Goa actually feels very proximate to Brazil in a lot of different ways, almost like a cousin of sorts. Is there anything about Goa or its people that has reminded you of home so far?
That's a funny story because I was writing the screenplay 6 years ago, and I still was in doubt about where to shoot which part of region in Brazil. When I came here, I was like, yes, of course, I must shoot in the Amazon region because it's the most equivalent of Goa I could find. And then I was very obsessed about the casinos because we don't have that culture in Brazil in casino anymore. Not in the river context. It was very it can be work very well for the movie as well. So I create this equivalent of the Majestic Club casino and the fish fighting in the movie. We have this fish fight casino, and adapt a few elements that were inspired actually in Goa, and yes, and also a few dress of the Goa police, very like tailored, like tropical, beautiful like shirts. I would say like for tropical this, and because in Brazil we have different kind of fashion. So I was also a bit inspired of the fashion of the Goa police. So yes, I'd say it was very inspiring to be here and to be in the festival 6 years ago, and it was very crazy to think this coincidence about be invited to open this amazing festival.
Thank you for the question. We also didn't know how you were inspired by the government police uniform.
The fashion.
Over to you, man.
So I was once interviewing Woody Allen. He told me that sound design is the most under-acknowledged element of filmmaking. And he said that if you change the music of a particular scene, it changes the entire context of the scene and film. So how challenging was it for you to sound design for the movie? Or was it a child's play for you?
No. No. It was no child's play. Do you want to start?
Well, first, Gabriel had this idea of how he wanted to sound it very, very clear. So we had a lot of conversation. Actually, it was like every day we were having a conversation, and it was like, work that we were doing together, very, very close. I mean, not in the same place because we were in different countries when we were working on the sound design, but working very, very close. And well, you want to add something, but
no,
but no, it was very interesting. The way that he was explaining what he wanted to sound like. For example, he was very, very preoccupied for like the weight of the body and how the footsteps, for example, how they should sound, and that's like very unusual sometimes to have a director to be so delicate about each sound.
Delicate means paranoid, maybe.
But also like he also like makes some drawings about the both mechanisms. So like, for example, I don't know, like as you can see in the poster, every time that the wheel, I don't know how to say that,
Steering.
the wheel, was like moving, he was imagining like this whole system behind the boat, under the boat, and he was explaining and drawing so we could like imagine how this should sound. And all the time he was sending us videos and sounds from very different things that I don't want to say because they were a huge variety of sounds, but that makes us that was so helpful, and that was very, very fun because we were just trying to portray what he had in his mind. and that was amazing.
Just a joke. You can't imagine which kind of sound you use to emulate the sound of the snail, you know, like that.
It's that. He was just sending voice notes to us, like it has to sound like this.
No, voice notes and videos of like with his face on like in front of the camera, like we need the snail to sound like every day, like, oh Gabriel, you're crazy, okay. And to be honest, Gabriel is probably one of the directors that cares more about sound that we've worked with. Since the very start, he told us in the first meeting, like, sound is very important to me. Like, this is not the first interview with a sound designer for this movie. Like, this is very important to me. And we realized that it was true. Like, he had so many ideas. He had a whole concept of a lot of things, like what Maria was saying about the boat. Like, after every meeting, when he described the boat, like, was that meeting real? Like, this guy is crazy. Like, he's describing things I cannot see in that movie, but let's do it. And it was so much fun. And at the end, it wasn't easy, but it was so much fun because we learned so much about Gabriel. We learned so much about the Amazon and how the Amazonia sounds. We learned so much about film because every time we make a film, we learn something new. And this movie was a learning experience and a wonderful thing to do. And more so, knowing that it's touching so many people now. I will feel really grateful about being this movie.
Yeah. Also, we worked the whole process without the music, so that was a surprise for us at the end. It was of course the work in the music is just amazing, but we were just working without. So we built a whole landscape, just imagining every detail. And that was great because that in the end I think he had like so many possibilities to create different different approaches for each scene. And then when the music came in, it was just like perfect.
Great. Ma'am.
Boa tarde a vocês e bem-vindo a Goa. Parabéns para este filme. I'm Runa Agarwal from Doordarshan, which is our national television organization. And my question, Gabriel, is for you. With your background in documentaries as well as now fiction and feature, Iffi has been working over the years to try and champion documentaries. There have been various conversations right where you're seated about us needing to do more and to champion the cause of documentary filmmakers, because there are so many stories out there that when you're looking at fiction and feature don't actually reflect life, maybe just in a country like ours, which is so diverse. But with your experience in both, what are the kinds of challenges that you see in one and the other? And do you have a preference?
Very difficult question, but I would say sometimes I have no I would say proper answer for that, but yes, I start doing documentaries, and at some point I start reflecting how important and how inside of documentary we must to observe that there is also performance. It's not about real, it's about how the people would like to be seen. And the way that people would like to be seen can be even more real than the people than what they are. So it's for me the interesting about documentary is the play, how the director and the characters are playing about are dealing about how they want to be seen, or how want to be shown, or how want they show to portray it, there is like a fine line about how to deal. Almost like that, because for me, like, there is no reality, there's no real reality, but what there is the way that I want to represent something, and you want to represent something as well, and we are dealing. There is no, so it's and the deal of the representation between these two parts can be very exciting, and for me too, it's about performance and how we deal about performance. And then I did a documentary where I gave the camera to portray the young, the owner of the son of the boss of the house will make documentaries about the housemates. And then I would receive the footage from me as the director just to edit the footage produced by the teenagers film their housemaids. So it was a movie about this housemaid issue in Brazil that's still strong. 10 years ago it was stronger than now, but it's about this asymmetric power relationship of housemates and employers. Brazil used to have a lot of housemaids, and for me it was intriguing how they were like dealing, because the teenagers was trying to portray themselves as a good boss. Look how I'm a good boss. I treat her, my housemaid, very well. She's so funny to me. She's very friendly. How she's part of our family. So as much as they was showing themselves as a good boss, more we could be in doubt about that, you know? So it's not about what you say, it's about what you hide. Sometimes documentaries are not about what you tell, but about your hiding, about you are not being able to tell, because the people, you know, documentaries can be very intrigued how to navigate. So for me, it was the most important of my documentary. At some point, I start reflecting how performance can be so more powerful, and not only fiction, but even in documentary context, the way you can express yourself, that who you'd love to be can be more real than what you are. Because about dream, because you can be more, I don't know, express properly. But then I start working fiction, and it become very strong to me, and to deal with this reality and start believing my own reality, my own crazy worlds, and look into that as if it was real. That was sometimes the people, oh, is it real in Brazil? The elderly people are being taken by the wrinkle vagos? No, because once I create this world building, I start to believe in it. So,
Thank you. I think let's have the last question now.
Hello, Adarsh, All India Radio, national broadcaster. Usually, concepts like gambling and psychedelic drugs are considered as sin in society that leads to one's destruction. But in your movie, it led to the protagonist discovering herself. So, why did you create that artistic choice?
that's true. It was very challenging because I tried to avoid being naive, because when we associate the idea of elderly body, we tend to domesticate them. We wouldn't be asking ourselves, it was a movie about young body, if they are gambling, it would be normalized if they were like facing, like discovering sexuality, discovering eroticism, their own body, to find new friends. We wouldn't be thinking about this, but only because they are elderlies, we start thinking, why this choice? The choice is that because I try to look at this female old lady woman as if they were someone else, and why not? You know, like why not? They can be dealing with these wrongdoing things. So as a young body that would be facing this kind of coming of age, this road movie, they should face a lot of like things that a young body would face. I try to replace this body and to make them do also wrongdoing stuff.
Congratulations.
Just and there is also the movie. When we think about young bodies, we normally associate the genres like coming of age, no, road movies. Normally, we never think about elderly being part of this. So that's why I proposed did this movie blending dystopia, road movie, coming of age, all the genres that do not accept elderly protagonists.
Yeah, congratulations on opening out the festival. I'm Cicero Silva from Hypejaw, and my question is for Rosa and a little bit for Gabriel. indigenous populations across the world have always been overwhelmed by other cultures. And as a representative of your culture, was there any scene in the movie that really emotionally connected with you, or did you add something that you felt was required to be shown? And for Gabriel, how did you choose to, was this an issue that you felt needed to be shown? That is the reason why, as the actor?
Eu acho que todo filme me identifica. Eu estou identificada no começo ao final do filme. Porque apesar de eu estar no filme, tem outros artistas dentro da minha região, dentro dessa película. Do começo ao final do filme.
Oh, you guys don't hear more?
So she's so she's saying that from the starting and the end of the film, she identified herself and she feels so connected to the film as because of the similarity in the region.
Gabriel, would you like to add?
Yes, we have a few challenges when you talk about Amazon region. There is a huge demand of representation. I know that there's not a lot of stories in Brazil cinema about Amazon region. In general, when there are movies about the majority of are international documentaries about the nature, about the animals, the wildlife. So there is a huge demand of artistical approaches, and for this movie, it wasn't necessarily a movie about indigenous. It was about elderly subject. But of course, when you make a movie in this context, you are also talking indirectly about that as well, and bringing that and working with the whole scene of artists that are amazing from the region. They have a strong culture in terms of theater. She comes also from theater, and lots of people work. So it was very special to have more than 20 actors and actresses from Amazonas that work in the movie. And hopefully more and more films can come from that region directed by people from that region, because I think they have a huge demand of recreating a different point of views for the region, because are normally represented by people for someone else, for different regions.
Não, só frisar que eu acho que o filme é totalmente amazônico. Ele não é, para mim, não é brasileiro, ele é amazônico. Ele é a floresta, ele é a cara do nosso povo. Eu acho que o Gabriel disse assim, eu quero fazer um filme, a cara da Amazônia, e ele fez.
He's saying that this film is more about the Amazon than the Brazil. So she feels like so connected.
Thank you, Rosa. Thank you, Gabriel.
The crocodile is real. There is only one thing in movies real is a crocodile. At least one. That's intriguing, because when I was thinking about this, I'm gonna make a very crazy scene. It would be lovely to have this crocodile. Let me check if they exist, and exist. Actually, there is only one big meat processor factory in Pantanal region that the people eat, and actually they are interested in the business of the skin, but they sell they can be used like poles, and they sell the meat for the kids in the school. So the kids. Yeah, okay. It's not very common in my region, but I could find that. And for me, it was important because we were talking about a movie about this development in the Amazon context, and nothing more crazy than start this alligators farm.
Thank you. With this, we will close this PC. I would like to thank the team, the Blue Trail, and also the media. From PIB, a small token of love.
Thank you very much.
Please come.